Welcome to Paramay Trades. This is Paramay's Trade Journal. This is my personal journal. Um, yeah. So continuing on where we left off last week, we're going to look at the CoT Report, Commitment of Traders Report. This is the Friday Roundup. I know it's Saturday, and this is actually not for this week. That is listed on. This is for the 15th to the 20th. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way just so we're clear that we're looking at the Commitment of Traders report for the upcoming week. So we're getting ready for the week ahead. We're going to be looking for trade setups. Going to be looking at some of the stuff we talked about last week in Friday's Roundup. Couple of key, or I wouldn't say key, but I would say a couple of notable commodities that we're looking at. We're looking for some type of turn. Just following the Commitment of Traders, one of our leading indicators. So thanks to Larry Williams for releasing the book, Trading Stocks and Commodities with the Insiders. Talks talks pretty much all about Commitment of Traders. And I think Larry has made a fair deal of money following the Commitment of Traders, following commercial interest. And these guys are usually on the right side of the trade, so that's why we're trying to use this report to our advantage. Trying to see if we can align ourselves with the right side of the trade. Whether you're an intraday trader, whether you're a swing trader, or a long-term trader. I personally am not a long-term trader. So, 1 to 2 weeks is something that, I may hold trades for up to 1 to 2 weeks, or I may intraday trade, depending on the chart. And with what's been happening in the market lately, being an intraday trader is not a bad thing. A lot of volatility, a lot of violence, a lot of fear in the market because of this virus, and the way that global economies and global governments are reacting to this, and the impact that it's having on the travel industry. So we look at commodities here. I'm not looking at stocks or anything like that, at least right now. So Commitment of Traders report, we're going to dive into it. We'll probably pick up a little bit where we left off last week, to see where we're gonna, where we're going to be putting our bids, or where we're going to be watching this week. So let's dive into it. I did update I updated the report with all the index values. So nothing's over 100% here. So we got all of that corrected. So let's just take a look at, yes, everything looks pretty clean. Nothing over 100. Everything's either at 100 on the current index, or it looks like the 3-year index is good too. So if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, you should probably watch some of the earlier videos. Let's just go no fill here. So we just go through this report every Friday to look and see where there has been a significant amount of sentiment change and where we want to align ourselves with the Commitment of Traders. All right, so it's our leading indicator, but it's not our only indicator. The other indicators that we use in the other price action, or patterns, or whatever it is, swing patterns, short-term lows or long-term lows and highs. Right, that's all done in separate videos. But right now we're just going to look at the Commitment of Traders, see if we can align ourselves here. So what has changed? So we did add Palladium to the mix this week. We did add Palladium here. So Palladium is down here only because it was an interesting chart. And there's been so much selling off going on right now. Palladium looked really good because they're in extremely positive territory. So Commitment of Traders is looking like they want to turn this around. They're getting optimistic because prices are low on Palladium, right? So let's look at PA here. Just a quick look. So what did I do? Oh, I went and marked off some daily supposed support and resistance, because it really doesn't matter, because it's just blasting through pretty much all areas of pivot highs and pivots lows. It's just, I mean, you got to cut down into the lower time frames to see if there was any bounces. But on the daily, I mean, just look at that sell-off was just tremendous. I mean, there's just nothing really slowing this down. So if you're big money here and you're looking at this and you say, wow, within the last year, in almost a single week, well, it's just about. So back in July, this is trading back in July levels. So this is that. I mean, that is just a huge sell-off. I mean, the entire market looks like this right now. So, you know, are the commitment of traders looking at this and going, you know, licking their chops and saying, well, these are really good prices right now. Trading at the high at 2,800. Yeah, just about 2,800, right? And then trading at the low of 1,570. I mean, oof. So here we are now at 1750. It's about $1,000 off the top, right? So I mean that still looks pretty good for commitment of traders. Sorry that we don't have the index on the indicator. I didn't upload that, unfortunately. The other commodities, they are updated, but we've got relatively low open interest here. With 100, we'll just pretend that we're up over 100 here. Up to up at 100. We're way up here. Now let's just do this here, right? The WPR is in that oversold range. Market sentiment. Oh, this is a strange one, huh? It's on the daily. Usually when you get a sell-off like this, market sentiment's really low, but it's declining, but it's and in relative terms to the last year, it's not low. So it's come down a little bit, and we're gonna swing up, possibly. What we do know, and what we have been looking at, is the commitment of traders report, and we're seeing that within the last 3 weeks they are getting they're holding a very positive outlook on this, which means that they're not holding net short here at the bottom. They were holding net short pretty handsomely. Oh God, many months ago. But are they always net short? Are they always net short in Palladium? 3-year index doesn't look stellar, right? But now that's looking pretty darn good, both on the 6-month and the 3-year index. So if you got deep pockets here, and there's the initial margin. You got deep pockets, play Palladium. It might be the time to play this, and look for a turnaround and look for a pivot. Are you going to find a pivot on the daily time frame? I don't know that you're going to get a nice clean pivot. I mean, this didn't even pivot. Even here didn't pivot handsomely. It did. It did. You could consider that a swing pivot there. Wasn't stellar, but it traded higher. This is a little bit better of a swing pivot here. Higher lows on each side. You got this low here, and pivoted up. And then you got a really good swing high pivot here, with this candle trading below, and with a yeah, and a retest and a dump. That was it looked nice. I haven't studied this chart, so you just have to excuse me here, but I'm gonna get. That's a hard candle to trade up and through. This could take some time. I don't know. But if you got big money to spend and 1,600 looks ripe, commercial interest thinks so. So we'll see how that one plays out. Diminishing open interest, bullish commercial interest, WPR oversold, market sentiment, something new we've been looking at. Still kind of new into the mix here, but market sentiment's still remaining pretty high, but it looks like it's trying to curl down a little bit here. If you got the bottom, good luck. Hopefully you did. So let's just carry on here. So I get a little distracted. What we're really trying to do is get through this report to see where we want to align ourselves, and maybe we do some of the videos on some of the commodities that we're pointing out here that we think we should align ourselves with. So Palladium, it's not in the indicator, but let's just mark this one off to put on the watch list here. So from the top, the Russell. What's the Russell doing? Well, it's starting to get a little bit better here. Look, it was pretty grim for a while. In the previous reports, we had noted that what's going on here? Commodity traders are not. They're getting really bearish on RTY, and they got a head start before the larger indexes the larger cap stocks got hit. So they started getting really bearish, back here. We dumped it below 20%. This was a key indicator that, and the S&P kept it up, kept the index up a little bit, so it rallied a little bit, but it never made new highs, I don't believe. And they were getting bearish for some months here. So we knew this. So we're gonna start bouncing, and we're just gonna start getting the outlook isn't as negative as it was, but we're not in any extreme territories, and we're still towards the lower end with following commercial interests. So when I go jumping in and loading the dice on RTY on the Russell for a bounce or for a long-term play, yeah, maybe, I don't know. We're not going to look at the chart, but we just know that the sentiment is shifting a little bit. So 5-week prior, well below the bearish range, very negative outlook, anything under 20. So we're back up over 20% now, so it's looking a little bit better here. And there's your 3-year index. And that's why we use the 5-week prior, so we can see that sentiment shift, right? So here's platinum as well, and that's a significant sentiment shift. That's huge. That's huge. So if we look at platinum here, what's going on? I mean, I'm in a 5-week period. That is huge. From ultra bearish here at 0%, under 20% for 4 or 5 weeks prior, and now the sentiment is starting to slowly shift. Now it's rapidly shifting. So now they're getting much more optimistic about platinum than they were before. So this is definitely on our watch list. 763. So yeah. So we had noted this before, and nothing new here. We know what we were looking at. It seems like commercial interest has got the pulse on platinum, right? Open interest is declining, right? Diminishing open interest. WPR is down here in this oversold range. Market sentiment is declining, and comms are getting really bullish on this. So what are we going to do about this? I mean, get ready for. I would say get ready for a bounce. These guys are usually pretty spot on when it comes to being aligned properly with platinum, right? So these guys are usually on the right side of the trade with platinum. So we extremely oversold, if you want to call it. I say overextended. I don't like the word oversold, because this could fucking go to zero and it doesn't matter. Pardon my language, but it could go to zero. Your Bitcoin could go to zero. Doesn't matter how oversold it is. But this is viewed as, I would believe, undervalued. Comms think that this is undervalued at this point. It's overextended to the downside. There's been a hell of a lot of selling. Are the bears going to run out of gas, down here and open it? So open interest, right? Diminishing open interest. Open interest is really low, right? It is in the thousands range. At its highest, 104,000, 104,500. Open contracts, right? So now this is diminishing. This is the place. This is the time when market sentiment usually shifts, right? When comms are this bullish. Diminishing open interest. Comms are getting bullish. And the market sentiment, price action changes, right? The chart shifts and we start trading higher. And they said the same thing with when commercial interests got really bearish back here. This is probably a possible top, and what happened? Market starts trading down. And plus with everything that's been happening too, right? All the fear in the market, blah, 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 blah. It's just a perfect storm. It's just, if you could add a coronavirus, market sentiment indicator on here, it would agree with this chart at this point. So platinum definitely one I think you got to watch for a bottom here, because this could make your year. Could go. You might be able to retire. Depends on how you play it. So not yet watching the Russell, but I mean, if you play it, there's good money there. British pound I've been just kind of ignoring lately. There's just nothing. I mean, just it looks bearish. If you're a bear and you've been playing this chart, it's just kind of, it's like hanging on a thread here most of the time. I haven't looked at it in a while. We went short. We stayed short on it, and we were looking for this pattern to play out, and well, there it is. So we've, what's this, the third or fourth week now that we've been waiting for this inverted head and shoulders, or this head and shoulders target to finally come through. Oh, it did. Oh, there it is. Oh, so we held short, and there it is. There's a target. So I'm glad that one panned out. That met target. We thought it would meet target, and now where do you go from here? I don't know. It's still bearish. Well, the comms are still bearish on this. There's no positive outlook. We do have diminishing open interest here. Well, this is really low. So nobody's really in the pool, right? And we've got WPR down in the oversold range, and we've also got market sentiment really, really low too. So comms start getting bullish on this, maybe this thing starts to turn around. But for the moment, it's this is what we're looking at. It's still bearish. The comms usually get it right. I don't know. They got really bullish back here on the 3-year. And we had a nice hike. They got really bearish in this area, and well, what happened? So just playing with what we got and what we've been looking at, commitment with traders, this is the chart we're following, and this is what it's representing, and this is what's presenting right now. These three are in agreement, but comms are not. So yeah, it could have bounced. Yeah, you can get a nice bounce off here. Well, they're not very optimistic about it, but let's see if they change directions in the next couple of weeks. It don't look like it. Does not look like it. So we'll keep a heads up on that. We'll follow it. Worth taking a look. Yeah, it's worth just kind of giving a glance once a week and find out what's going on. Oh, wheat. I don't play wheat very often. I just don't like the chart. I don't. Neither do comms. You could pull up maybe a seasonal study on wheat and find out, that's a mess. And I think we may have gone over wheat. Yeah, nothing good here. I'm not going to play this chart. I'm just not doing it. Here's wheat down here. Can it rally? I don't know. This looks like a lot of hemming and hawing. I'm not playing wheat. So nothing good here either. It's middle ground on wheat. Extremely bearish back here. Nothing looking stellar. Your 100% is the index that you want to pay attention to. Is the value you want to pay attention to. Anything over 80, right? 100's a new high. 0's a new low. So if you want to follow the chart, go ahead. I'm not playing wheat though. You go ahead. There's better charts out there. Silver, a way better chart. 100% on the index. Okay, so it's over 80. That's over the extreme territory. So if you look at silver here, and that is a 4-week complete change in direction on silver, right? So let's look at silver just real quick. Let's go fast. we got to pick up the pace here. Oh, there's your daily level, and kind of hit it. 6-month index, really bullish, right? Really bullish back here. We've got some some movement in price action here. Really bullish back here. It was a good time, but if it formed a nice base, right? So it formed a nice base here to work with. Right now, there's no base. So would you jump on it? At the present time, I don't know. Maybe range low or something. Maybe this can form some kind of range down here and accumulate. Open interest is getting up. WPR is like overextended, oversold, whatever the hell you want to call it. Whatever phrase you use. So I'd be looking for a base here. They'll hold for weeks if they think that this is the level that, But the market's going to do whatever the hell it wants. They got a little bit deeper pockets than you and I. So if you're an intraday trader, I want to see something going on here. I want to see a nice impulse. I want to see a nice swing pivot. Maybe in the lower time frames. You're not going to see it here. And a 15-minute chart is slowly becoming my favorites, but it is ain't much here yet. But comms are getting bullish, so definitely watch this in the weeks to come. Absolutely watch this one in the weeks to come, because silver could be turning around here. Live cattle has been one that we've been watching quite handsomely. The chart doesn't look stellar yet, so we haven't jumped on board, but we're at a new net long high for commercial interest. And the sentiment has been shifting for the last couple of months. So notably, cattle has a strong March decline, and we haven't jumped in yet. So I don't really know if this is going to be a season that's much different than the rest. But live cattle, we have been just kind of really watching at least once a week to see if we can get some kind of. There you go. Oof, and this is rate. Absolutely. When you look at this aligned with, the previous 8-year study, and here's your decline up until the beginning of April, and there's no real strong rally. There, you can make a case for a couple of seasons that it did rally, but right now at this point in time, 8-year study has live cattle at the lowest that it's been, at the sharpest decline that it's had in the last 8 years. So from the beginning of the year, this thing's dropped about 23%, right? So we've just been looking for something, man. We have been looking for something because of the bullishness, the positive outlook that is being held by commercial interest. Right? Look where we were on the 3-year index, and look where cattle went. So when is this thing going to rebound? We have been waiting. We have been looking for an entry on this. We have been looking for some kind of pivot, and we thought we might have had one here, and then it kind of disappointed. We gapped up. We thought we might be able to get in here. We were looking for something, and then it traded lower. You probably may have been able to consider. This chart is really hard to tell, but could this have been a nice swing pivot right here? No, we just got rejected by the CMA. Bulls couldn't recover, and then all this happened, right? There's an entire day of trading where just not much going on, no volume. I can't remember if LE broke down here and they paused trading. I can't remember. I don't know why this is. We had an entire day of not trading. If somebody else knows, maybe you can post it. But I try to recover here. Couldn't do it. So then now we've got this descending eye pattern that we've got to look at. And are we basing up here? I don't know. We got to see something. We got to see something. I want to see a nice pivot or something. If this wants to continue to decline, I'm happy to jump on it when it gets lower. And we got this market sentiment that's really, really low. So LE is one we're watching. Okay, let's just get on to the next chart. Continue to watch live cattle because comms are bullish on this. Find yourself an entry. Not a lot of volume or liquidity. Trading on cattle. It's a harder chart. It's not the S&P. It's not the minis. It's not the micros. All right. So, 2-year notes. That's bearish territory. I don't play the notes very often, but this is. And if you've been watching the news right along, you know what's going on with the yield and with the Fed injecting money and everything else. So, here's your notes. I'm only going to do it once. Your notes are looking bearish. And I haven't updated this one in a long time. 30-day funds. This one doesn't even have the newer index. So there's your notes, right? There's all that hocus pocus going on with. So, watch them. Oats, I don't play oats very often, but hello, oats. Getting bullish, right? Getting really bullish, commercial interest is. So let's just take a quick look at oats. Let's zip through here. Is it showing yet? Not yet, but it's looking like a nice base. This looks good here. Could this be turning around? Is this your nice pivot here? Higher low. Here's your lower low. Here's your higher low. Is this, are we getting ready to go here? It's possible. Possible this thing's getting ready to go, getting ready to turn. I don't play oats, but if you're playing oats, I would say wait for a lower high pivot here. Let's just do this. What do we got here? God, not a lot of volume, right? Is this just that's oats, right? Good return. Oh boy, huh? Where's your support? Bounce. I mean, hard to find these, right? Hard to find these pivots. I mean, maybe we'll do a whole video on this, but let's just quickly get through this. If, clear out this low, could be good, but where's your range here? Is that your range high? Crazy range, right? I've seen worse. So here's your range low, right? And I always put, it's not the 15-minute, it's only, 15-minute range low. We should ignore it because it's not important. It just means that that's where I found it, right? That's where I drew the line. Is on the 15-minute chart. And here's your range high, hopefully, right? So it's yeah. I mean, is this thing pivoting? Yeah. Are we gonna get a pivot here? Are we gonna get a pivot here? This is looking a lot better than it did. That's for sure. I like it. I like it. I definitely do. Yeah. If we can hold, if it can hold here. If it can hold here, this could pop. This could pop. Yeah, I like it. I feel like if you're playing oats, might be time to get into oats. Might have pointed this out in the last Friday roundup too, but and we must have because we're over 90%, over 80%. is extreme. So, what is going on here? Ah, yeah, it's the empty value. So there was a week in oats that did not trade anything. So I've just been putting in the value the week before because there was nothing there. So I don't know. And I'm not sure why that's an empty value, but it just, every time I pull the report, there's nothing going on there. Right? So, yeah, this could swing. I don't play oats very often. If you know the charts a little better than I do, maybe you know something I don't, but, you know, this seems significant. A new high in the 6-month index. So, look pretty good, huh? All right. So there was that range low that we were looking at, I think probably in the previous week. And we had a sweep of the low, and then maybe now we're turning around here. Yeah, oats is definitely one to watch. Maybe we'll play that this week and find out what happens. Well, hello, Dow Jones. What's going on here? Are these numbers messed up or what here? 6-month index is, not very optimistic to very optimistic. I mean, this is just, a strong representation of probably all the fear that's going on in the market. This is just not at extremes, but bearish. Negative outlook, down to 50%, and then up to 100, and then up to, they're all over the place, right? Oh, get moving here, What is going on? Well, looks ugly. It definitely looks ugly. What can you say about the Dow Jones here? Oh, nice pivot, right? Nice bounce. Nice bounce, People get all caught up about exact price levels. No, there's just an area. If you want to get to the tick and meticulous about it, I don't do that. It's just an area. Just watch that area where there was support or resistance, whatever you want to call it. Where there were sellers, or where there was supply, where there was demand. If it holds it, holds that area. I see these guys posting on, and I don't know. I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna leave it alone. But that's a nice solid bounce, right, off the bottom, 20 to 22. Yeah, it's a good, like 2,400 or something like that. Can it sustain it though? There's no buildup. It just looks like a bounce. 6-month index up over, up over 80%. So a much more positive outlook. Are these guys thinking that the bottom's in? I don't know. Maybe a buyer up here. I don't know about that. At least not yet. At least not, on the 4 hours. Doesn't look great. Up in that oversold territory, or overextended. The buyers may be overextended. We got to watch the Sunday open though. Look at this. Look at the sheer volume, right? And the movement and price action. It's like people, we'll take a little profits, and we think this is going up. But look at the violence and the amount of trading that's been happening in the last 2 weeks. It's tremendous. It could make or break you here. So not looking back, just looking at the 4 hour. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think this coronavirus thing is going. I don't think the fear in the market is going away anytime soon. Trump just shut down. What was it, last Friday? Just shut down all flights into the country from certain countries. Well, with the exception of the United Kingdom. But I just heard, because I have a friend in the United Kingdom who just told me that their flights were canceled. So they're not coming to the States because the UK canceled their flights. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the market. I just know that comms are getting a little bit bullish on this. Market sentiment is down, apparently, obviously. This oversold bounce on the 4-hour might not last. I don't know. It's going to do whatever it wants, but let's look at the lower time frame so that maybe we can see something, Let's clear out the drawing set for YM here. Let's just look. Do we have a case? Can we make a case that this is that this is pivoting? That we've got a nice swing pivot and this might be a short-term low. Makes a pretty good case for it, and then that broke on Friday. I know MES broke on Friday. I know the S&P definitely broke. Here's your range low, here's your range high that it eventually lost, and it's up into that area. So maybe we can find support in here at this price level. Maybe off this descending high pattern, which is not, it's not the most, not a lot of touches going on up in here, but it is a descending high pattern, so we do watch it, and it did break it. And if you were a breakout trader, you maybe made a few bucks before the Friday close. But this looks good. This looks good, right? This kind of looks like your, your shoulder, head and shoulder pattern, right? Inverse head and shoulder pattern. At least short term. Because you're not going to see it on the daily. If you're sitting around waiting for the daily one, all you got is a big red candle. So, with a nice tail. No, with a decent tail, right? This is you don't have a big long wick off the. No, you don't. You got nothing. If it's going to turn, it's going to turn. But maybe this is the beginning of a swing and a turn. At least short term. So maybe you can make some money off this if it can find support. So I don't know what else to say about the indexes, and they're getting shredded. So it's a good time to be a bear. ZL, soybean oil, I don't. From one to the other, Same difference. Extremely bearish, negative outlook, and they're lifting up a little bit. So the ZL chart look a lot better than it did last week. I don't think anything looks better, at least for buyers, as it did last week. What is going on here with ZL? Do I have a chart? I don't even have a chart for this. Is that crazy? That's how much I play it. If I don't have 5 charts over here, it means I don't play it. So I just take this moment to say thanks for stopping in, guys, and hanging around with me while we do this here. Can we make a case here for, this doesn't look tremendously great, but could it be turning around? Here's your area to watch, right? So, your range low. Can you call that your range high? Tough chart on the 15 minute. A tough chart to find a range here. But do you want to call this your your range low and that your range high? But even though there's a reaction here, you could even argue the case that there was a reaction here from this pivot. We did not swing low. It stayed pretty strong. I'm going to use this one. Tough chart. Where's your range? And it is about halfway between, right? And it just stayed in the upper half of this range for quite a while. Before it broke down. Alright, so it looked pretty good. Looked pretty good, like it was, So we definitely swept the lows here when we continued going. So what do we got? What do we have here? We make a case for a pivot? I don't know. This doesn't look tremendously strong, but it's there. Well, this whole chart doesn't look, at least on the 15-minute, like it's giving you too much. But could we have had a temporary or short-term top here with the way that this pivoted, right? So the market didn't trade higher here. Was this the market's way of telling us? Oh, come on. There it is. Is this the market's way of telling us it didn't trade higher, so we're going to go lower? So we got a lower high. I'm sorry. Yeah, a lower a lower high, higher high, and a lower high. So we got lower highs on each side. And some people call these head and shoulders, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Was this that swing pivot that you were looking for? And then it broke down and swept the lows here, and we couldn't get up over this lower high as well. So we've got lower high, and then down we go. So we've got a nice descending lower high pattern emerging here. But is this enough to call it a swing? It doesn't look that strong. We are getting some buildup here. We can get some buildup to go up and try to break this high. Try to bust through this. Quite possible. That's just, well, we busted through this. This could be the market's way of telling us we'd like to go out. So we come back here and form a technical test on this pivot. And if it can hold it, maybe here we go. Possible. See what happens in the market on Sunday. But ZL, yeah. Let's watch ZL. Let's watch soybean oil. Why not? Comms are getting bullish. Chart looks pretty decent. Let's do it. Canadian dollar. Hello, Canadian dollar. Up over. So new high. Positive outlook here. 290. That looks a lot different than that does, right? In a 6-month period. If you're going to be a buyer on the Canadian, wouldn't now be the time? Wouldn't now be the time to be a buyer on the Canadian? Please tell me we've got the index loaded here. Oh, God. I don't play this very often either. Oh, boy. It might be time. I'm glad we're looking at this. What? Come on. Here's your 15-minute chart. What is going on here? So lower, we're looking at lower time frames, right? Ooh, is that? Can you consider that a lower high pivot? Higher low. Higher low pivot here. What do we got here? Quick range. Broke the range. Came back down. Busted straight through it. Once we got back in that range, it was a good time to short, right? Right up off the top of that. Swap the lows down here, and away we go. So here's a solid sweep. Swap this low here. And we got up above that range. That was a quick range, though, Well, there's a lot of violence going on here. It's tough to find these ranges, especially with swept, challenge the top of that range, swept this low, swept this high, and down we go. It's just a lot of battling going on up in here. Range low, range high. There's the 50% of that range. There's something like that, right? Well, half that range. Where is this going? Where is this going? Are they getting bullish? I think. Jeez, it is all over the place, huh? I don't know if I'm a buyer up here with the sentiment as high as it is. But, I mean, the euro proved it doesn't really matter. Market sentiment looked something like this on the euro when it decided to go. The market sentiment bottom was always ascending. So we weren't getting, rock bottom market sentiment. It was just, bouncing off this higher low market sentiment pattern. I thought that was really interesting. In one of our other videos, I think we point that out, but I'm not going to get into it now unless we get into the euro, which I think we're going to because it's extremely bearish right now. And it showed. It showed. So where's the Canadian dollar going? I don't know. I'd like to see a better pivot than that. Although that was pretty, that was pretty decent, right? Is this... You want to take it here? I want to see what happens when the market opens. I want to see what's going on with the Canadian dollar because it's getting pretty bullish here, at least with commercial interest. But how many weeks? How many weeks? A couple weeks, right? Could have a nice accumulation pattern on our hands, so it could swing. I would watch the Canadian dollar for sure. Gold. I mean, I don't know that this helps. I think producers have been getting burned on gold for a long time now here. Billions. Billions of dollars. I don't know. You know as well as I do with the amount of fear in the marketplace that it's hard to tell. I mean, 1 minute gold's up at 1,700, next minute it's down to 1,529. And that's some erratic behavior, right? So there's some... What's going on here? Why did I mark... I don't know why I marked these off. Was it a good idea to follow comms here when they're getting bearish? I mean, 3-year index, they've been bearish forever. Did it help? Did it help? Well, we've only got a 6-month here. Oh, yeah. We looked at this chart a million times. Well, there it is, right? 3 weeks up on gold. Boy, did they get it wrong. We're in danger of a nice head and shoulders here. We'll find a top. If this spikes up, I would say if this spikes up, and we get a higher low pattern, maybe we've got a nice head and shoulders top, but people are getting out. Open interest is diminishing. WPR is in the overextended, oversold range, and we got market sentiment moving down a little bit here. Time to be a buyer. I don't know. I don't think so. Boy, we're gonna have to do a gold chart. I can't say anything for certain here, just based off commercial interest, because the erratic behavior that's been going on in the market, the irrational behavior that's been going on in the market, I just don't know where gold is going. And that's where I am with that. I don't know. Based on the CoT, outlook. 3-year index hasn't looked good for a long time, and it's been trending higher. So I think comms are just losing money here. I think they're just bleeding money out. I think the market is going to be irrational for a while, or at least the next couple of months. So pay attention to the lower time. I would just scalp and hope you get in on the right side of the trade. I would find a nice, pivot here and just, see if you can somehow get in on this trade, or find a nice entry on this trade. That's all I gotta say. I think, this is going a little too long. I've been talking a little too much, and I'm starting to wear down here. So I'll take a look at these at gold later, but as far as commercial interest is concerned, I think they're getting killed. The Eurodollar, not looking stellar any longer. This has been trading lower. I don't play the Eurodollar, but I do play the Euro FX. Australian dollar is definitely one to watch. We've been monitoring that as well, and it looks good. If you're a bull, things are starting to look really, really good on the Eurodollar. I'm sorry, on the Canadian, on the Australian dollar. I don't think it was a sell-off towards the end of the week, though, right? Yep. Comms are getting bullish. Looks like open interest is down. WPR is down. Ooh, this could be a nice turnaround time. We'll find a nice pivot here. Can we trade higher? Gotta watch it. Gotta watch it. See what the market tells us next week. Comms are bullish on the Australian dollar, looking good here. Something to watch in the upcoming weeks. And the Euro FX, I mean, we've been playing this for the last couple of weeks, and it's been the bread and butter. But your 6-month index is down at 0. They set a new low. It showed. It showed. So I mean, they set that high, and then they jumped off a cliff. Here was your indication. Your net short contracts, or your net long contracts, decreased by about 30,000. And then we're in like extremely negative territory. More negative than we've seen in the last 6 months. So this has been our bread and butter, and we were long, and we were short, and we were scalping, and we had a good old time. And I think a lot of people did too. The dollar index is, going left, going right. What's happening with it, right? So we followed the dollar index, and we followed this breakdown, and we followed the bounce play here, and so we're right about half of this range, this huge range right now that's trading, with all this violence. So I think a lot probably depends on what the dollar is going to do, and the dollar has been looking a little bit better, right? So market sentiment's down on the 15-minute. Doesn't look like we're pivoting anywhere soon, right? Right. I mean, maybe. Could you make that case? Well, don't clean out this low, and then maybe we can pivot higher. I don't know. I don't have a very positive outlook on the euro right now until it shows me something. So I'm going to play these ranges, and that's the ranges within ranges, and play the larger range, and gonna have to watch it. Watch the dollar. We made our money, so we're not really taking any positions on the euro. How bearish and how bullish this gets, I think, is probably going to depend a lot on what's going on in the economy lately, and I mean the indexes. This is what's been going on, There's just a medieval bounce here. On the dollar index. So if you play that, you've been making out pretty well. We'll see. We'll see. A lot of white space going on in here. So a lot of white space down here too. Look for a breakdown here, and maybe the euro turns around. But watch the dollar index. That's what I've been doing. And somebody else pointed that out to me. I didn't even know about it. I wasn't like, oh, is there a wonderful relationship to Japanese yen and the dollar index and and the euro? Oh yeah, apparently there is. So we'll see. High grade copper was one that we were watching too. Chart looked really good. Let's zip through this because we are hello Friday Roundup. taking forever here. MAOC. So NASDAQ is not looking stellar. We've said what we said about the indexes. A lot's going to depend on what's going on in Chaosville, global economies. Notes we already talked about. Go ahead and look at them if you're bearish. S&P set new lows on the 6-month index. It showed there was a nice pivot on the lower time frames for S&P, so maybe this turns up. I don't know if it finds support. Crude comms are getting bullish again. They're starting to switch their sentiment here. So they were in extremely bearish territory, and they're starting to lift their heads. So is the market bottom going to be? Is crude going to show us something, and then we decide here that we're at a market bottom? This looks pretty good in terms of accumulation. Unless it breaks down, I mean, it looks pretty good. Gonna have to watch it. Watch OPEC, watch Russia. Well, we already know what they did, so. Can this break down further? I think so. This is trading high in this range. This is a little bit worrisome. Well, let's watch for a range low break into the 20s, and then off we go. I don't know. I don't have any, I'm not an advisor anyway, so I don't have any advice on that. But here's the numbers. Com's a little bit more excited about this than they were. So maybe they take this the other way. Here's a soybean meal. Many weeks ago we watched soybean meal, and we watched the sentiment shift and up into the hundreds, and we watched the dump and the pop, and now they're out. So that's that on soybean meal. So we don't need to, well, whatever. Let's drill into this chart. Let's just take a quick look, right? We saw this. We saw this happening. Why the hell does this keep doing this? Friggin' open interest just keeps moving itself back up. And we just looked at this chart, and the damn open interest was lower. This is driving me nuts. Just stay there. Just stay there. That's it, man. Just go where I tell you to go. You're a program. You don't get a chance or the opportunity to think for yourself. Just do what I tell you to do. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, what do we got? What do we got? A lot of distribution, right? That's pretty mean, but maybe we'll get a nice curve with the averages, and maybe ZM decides, to go the other way. But comms are not as optimistic right now, so. A nice pivot here. Is that, bearish is all heck. We gotta wait to see something here on ZM. I'm not playing this chart. We were playing this chart down here, so we're done with that. We'll look at it another time. But if you're aligning yourself with commercial interests, then they're bearish. They don't have a positive outlook on this. Corn, on the other hand, comms are holding a positive outlook on this. 3-year index not as strong, but the 6-month index at least pretty good. So if I failed to mention that, at least in this video, the 3-year index obviously holds a little bit more weight, right? So if we're looking at the Australian dollar, 3-year index is over 80. It's over the extreme. You're looking at live cattle, 3-year index is over 80%. It's at 95. Same thing with Palladium. And we're having on their charts over 80%. Yeah, we do. Natural gas. So natural gas has been doing some work in the last, I think, week or two. So something to look at. Feeder cattle. Yeah, look pretty good. Look pretty good. I mean, the 3-year index isn't up over 80%, but the 6-month is something to look out for. And then U.S. dollar index. Is there any big surprise there that we saw? That movement with the 3-year index, or with the 6-month index, and with price action? Apparently not. Comms were all over that. We just looked at that, and that chart looked pretty darn good. So soybeans, 6-month index, not nearly as bullish. Actually coming down. not a very positive outlook on soybeans. So I'm staying away from the soybeans right now. I'm not playing those charts. There's way better charts to play. So we got a lot to look at this week, right? We got a lot to look at. I will post this in the Discord channel. Discord channel is in the description if you want to join in. Come and talk about the charts. Obviously, leave your comments if this is helpful, if this is not helpful, if this is confusing, if this is, leave some positive comments. It takes a lot for people to, put it all out there and be transparent with the way that they trade and their methodology and other things. So do yourself a favor. The world's going to shit right now anyway, so just be a little bit kinder to your fellow humans, okay? Discord, like I said, server channel is posted in the description here. I want to thank you for stopping in. Thanks for tuning in this edition of Friday Roundup, the CoT Report. And I hope you find yourself on the profitable side of the trade. And we'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot.